Hi boys and girls, this is your mid-mod review for Module 6. You should have this all completed and you should be going with me through your answers to check your work. A is over 2 up 1.5. That looks like this. B is over 3 up 2.5. That looks like this. C is over 1/2 up 1. That looks like this. D is over 1 up 2. That looks like this. And E is over 2.5 up 1.5. That coordinate pair looks like this. Those are the coordinates of each of those points. Number 2 said plot each point in the coordinate plane above and label each point with F, G, or H. You should have plotted point F at 1.5, 3. Over 1.5 up 3. And you should have it labeled F. G, 1/1/2 should be over 1 up 1/2, and it should be labeled G. And H should be over 2 up 3 and should be labeled with a G. This next problem says give coordinates for 3 points that are on the same vertical line. Include at least one point that has a mixed number as a coordinate. As you can see, I've put a line up here on this grid. So I can move this line. This is making a vertical line. So what has to be the same in order to make the line vertical? That's right, the x-axis has to be the same. So it has to be over 1, up 1, over 1, up 2, over 1, up 3, or over 2, or over 1 3/4. So what I want you to notice for A is you may have totally different answer than somebody else, and that doesn't mean it's wrong. What I do want you to notice is that your x coordinate has to be the same in all 3 of your coordinate pairs. So if you have a 1 here and then say a 1 and a 1, 1.5, and a 1, 3, that's fine as long as your x coordinate is the same. It will make a vertical line. So let's give some coordinates for 3 points that are on the same horizontal line. Include at least one point that has a fraction as a coordinate. So if we again look at our coordinates here, think about to make a vertical line, we had to have x be the same. So what do you think would make a horizontal line? So as you can see, I have made a horizontal line. We know that the x had to be the same to make a vertical line. To make a horizontal line, the y has to be the same. So for example, the y has to be the same. So say if this is 1, 1, it'll be 2, 1, 2.5, 1. The y always has to be the same. So you can check yours to make sure for a horizontal line, the y-axis is the same. For a vertical line, the x-axis stays the same. Donald and Patrick are planning a treasure hunt. They decide to place a treasure at a point that is a distance 4 units from the x and 2 units from the y. Patrick places treasure at point P and Donald places one at point D. Who put the treasure in the right place? Explain how you know. So this is really a trick question because we have to look at the wording. It says 4 units from the x. So here's the x-axis. 4 units from this or away from this actually means 4 on the y. So our y has to be 4, our y coordinate. Then it says 2 units from the y. So here's the y-axis. 2 units from that means 2 away from that, which is actually 2 on the x. So it's got to be 2 in the x-axis and 4 in the y-axis. So if we went over 2, up 4, who would be correct? It would be Donald. So Donald is correct because of the wording says 4 units from the x and 2 units from the y-axis. 5A asks us to find the y coordinates following the rules given for each table. Table A is multiply by 2. So 0 times 2 is 0. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And 3 times 2 is 6. So our coordinates are 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 4, and 3, 6. Table B says multiply by 1/2. 0 times 1/2 is 0. 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. 2 times 1/2 is 2 halves, which is equal to 1. And 3 times 1/2 is 3 halves. And I know that 3 halves equals to 1 whole and 1/2. So 3 times 1/2 is 1 1/2. Part B wants us to graph and label the coordinate pairs from Table A, connect the points to label line A, graph and label the coordinate pairs from Table B, connect the points and label the line B. After doing Part B, your graph should look like this. I apologize that you could not finish Table A because the numbers got too large for the table that you were provided. C says, describe the relationship between the y-coordinates in Table A and Table B that have the same x-coordinate. So if we look, x-coordinate 0, y-coordinate 0, x-coordinate 0, y-coordinate 0, x is 1 and x is 1, but y is 2 and y is 1 1/2. What's happening here? Looks like the numbers are getting larger, and from 1 to 1/2 and from 2 to 1, the numbers here are getting smaller. So because we're multiplying by a fraction, which is the same thing as dividing, Table B is showing division, and Table A is showing multiplication. A is getting larger, and B is getting smaller. Use the graph to give the coordinate pairs of the points marked on the line. So the first point that we see right here is over 1, up 3. The next one is over 2, up 5. The next one is over 3, up 7. And the last one is over 4, up 9. Using this rule, generate 3 more points that would be on this line but would lie beyond the portion of the coordinate plane that is pictured. So let's figure out what our rule is here. We go from 1 to 3. Well, that could be plus 2. So let's try add 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Oh, plus 2 does not work. Let's try multiplication. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Nope, doesn't work. Let's try multiplication and then addition. Let's try times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. And then how do we get to 3? We add 1. So times 2 plus 1. Let's see if that works. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. It works. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. It works. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So our rule is times 2 plus 1. So let's use that rule to find 3 more points that would lie on this plane but would be beyond what is pictured. So let's choose a larger number in our x-axis, and then we'll use the rule to find the y. So let's try, let's say 15. So if we have 15, we multiplied 15 times 2, we'd get 30, plus 1 is 31. So 15, 31. Let's try another. Let's go 16. 16 times 2 is 32, plus 1 is 33. So 16, 33. Let's try 20. 20 times 2 is 40, plus 1 is 41. So these are 3 possible points that could be on this line. Yours may be a little bit different than mine. That's okay, as long as you follow this rule. So right now you should be checking, do your x number, your x coordinate, times 2 plus 1 should equal your y. So go ahead and check your coordinates and make sure that is correct. Thank you for watching Mid-Mod 6 review. I hope that you're ready for your assessment.